What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Cheers and welcome to Trades Lady Happy Hour. This is your weekly installment. For those of you who are new here, this is a program where every week we get to meet another incredible woman in the automotive and adjacent industries, really trying to highlight tradeswomen and all of the amazing things that women are up to in the trades, kicking butt out there, doing amazing things. And I'm really excited this week because up until now this has been entirely passion project, self-funded, doing my thing on my own here, but we have partnered with an amazing new partner and we're really excited about it. So I'm actually on site here at DriveTime, one of their reconditioning facilities, and they are a new partner. They're doing a lot of initiatives to bring more people into the industry as trades folks, and also specifically focusing on bringing women into the industry. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to be meeting with two ladies from their organization. So we're going to get a tour a little bit later. We're going to meet two awesome women. We're going to hang out for an hour. So bring your questions, bring your drinks, and we're going to get ready to get this party started. So I'm hanging out here in their break room. What do we call this? The break room? Yeah. So we have a pretty cool little break room. And can I just say for a second, ping pong, that's happening later. Maybe not on camera, but it's totally happening. All right, I'm going to set my camera down here. Oh, look, sneak peek. Those are the ladies. All right. Hopefully, we can all squeeze into this little tiny frame, can we? We're going to get real comfy cozy here. All right, guys. So we have these two beautiful, amazing women here from DriveTime. I'm going to maybe mispronounce your names, but I'm going to try. We've got Fabiano, and Jaimie Fischer. Pardon me, sorry. So you're going to introduce yourselves way better than I am. So if you could just real brief, title, we are, what you do here at DriveTime.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So as she said, I'm Fabiano. I'm an operations manager here at the reconditioning center.
I'm Jaimie Fischer. I'm the assistant vice president of retail and inventory for DriveTime.
Okay, so now we're gonna have to explain to these folks a little bit of what all of that means. So that's the title. What is that? What do you actually do here? Like, what is
Me
your
first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you have the unfortunate position of being the one sitting next to me. So you get to answer everything first.
Yes. Okay. So currently my role here is over a couple of different areas. I do our photos department,
Okay.
our stocking department, our coordinator department, our distribution department. Those are the core four.
So you're not busy at all.
Oh no, not at all. Never.
And you, my dear?
Yep, so I'm responsible for all of operations for DriveTime. So we've got 134 dealerships and 15 reconditioning centers across 26 states.
And you're in charge of all of them?
I am, yeah.
Also not a busy person at all.
Yes, pretty fun.
So let me rewind a second real quick for anybody who doesn't know. What is DriveTime?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. We are the largest at what we do in terms of subprime used car dealer across the country. So we've got 134 dealerships, like I mentioned, in 26 states, 15 reconditioning centers. We sell well over 100,000 vehicles a year, and recondition a whole bunch more than that.
Wow.
And we are really happy to be a part of, our mission is to create opportunities to improve lives, and we're really happy to be part of the subprime community because we really believe that what we do makes a difference, and is the difference between people driving and not driving. So it's been pretty awesome.
I have to ask, because like right now with COVID and supply chain and all of the stuff going on in the world, like I know the used car market has just gone absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't even get a bad car for inexpensive, let alone a good car. How has that affected you guys?
Everything. It's affected us in absolutely everything. Again, because we're in the subprime market, so it's really important to us that we have affordability and that we, but we also put a quality car on the road, because if the cars are breaking down, then it's not going to do our customers any good. So.
Right.
We put a lot of weight and effort and responsibility on our reconditioning centers and
Lucky
what
you.
they do to prepare a vehicle for our consumer, and they do a phenomenal job. We have, it's been hard. It's been hard for everybody. The cars are worse cars with higher age and more mileage than before, are more money than they were before, and so it's sort of like not only a mindset shift, but you deal with it as it comes. And there are cars out there, but they're definitely harder to find
Has
than
it
they ever have
slowed
been.
you guys down as far as the number of cars you can go through and the number of cars you're able to get back out there on the road?
I'd say yes and no. Like, no, in the sense that we just had to be more creative, right?
Okay,
So you just
fair.
have to like figure out different ways, different avenues of sourcing and how you're going to collect them in. And then again, like our reconditioning centers are literally the infrastructure and backbone of this organization. So their ability to be creative, to figure out how to repair versus replace, to figure out how to, use aftermarket components, and supply chain and parts is another nationwide kind of problem.
Yeah.
So that sort of innovation and creativity that we have in our centers is really what's kind of kept us going. And we had a pretty good year last year, all things considered, and are expecting it similar this year as well.
Nice,
So,
awesome.
Yeah, it's been a lot of work.
So one of the things, I know normally on the show we focus really on tradeswomen and folks who are hands-on out there getting dirty in the field. And so this is a little bit of a sidestep from that because, we're looking at some corporate positions.
Mm-hmm.
Still very hands-on in as far as like being involved in the daily operations, but not necessarily, you're not turning wrenches out there, right? But I think one of the things that I'm really particularly passionate about is kind of showing everybody the multitude of different ways that you can be in the automotive industry, that it isn't just a single path for success, that there's lots of ways that you can be successful in the industry. So this is really important to me as well. And I'm really curious to hear from both of you, like, how did you end up here? Like, how did you end up not just at DriveTime, but just in the automotive industry? How is somebody watching this maybe who might want to do something along the lines of what you're doing? Like, maybe I'm interested in automotive, but I don't necessarily want to be out turning wrenches, or I have a bad back and I can't, or I'm tired of turning wrenches and I want to do something else. Like, how did you get here? And you're sitting next to me, so you get to go first. You go first.
So how did I get here? That's an interesting question because my path was so crazy. So when I graduated from college, I was in the military, so I came back from military training, and I honestly just needed a job. And I was like, okay, I'm going to interview at a couple places, figure out where I want to go.
Okay.
I interviewed at DriveTime, and I really liked the people and the environment, and I actually started on the call center side in collections.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was interesting because it's not really something I thought I would do, but I was like, hey,
Right.
I'll give it a shot, we'll see how it goes. From there, I really liked it. I went to customer service.
Okay.
I went to our leasing team. I went to our customer advocacy team. I went to our warranty team, where
Okay.
I was in claims, and then our vendor team, and then I came here.
All over the course of how many years?
It's almost 10 years.
Wow. I mean, that's a ton of growth in a
Yep.
really short amount of time. Was it just something about like the company that you really enjoyed? Was it something about the industry you enjoyed?
It was
What made you stay?
It was probably a little bit of both, but honestly what made me stay at this company in particular was the culture and the people and just the environment that they create to let you be part of the team.
Because that's a lot of growth in a short amount of time.
Mhm.
And I think, sometimes we hear those stories of success. Like, I started out here and look at where I am now, and short amount of time, and we don't necessarily hear that backstory of how that happened. Like, what do you attribute your rapid growth and movement within the company to?
I think honestly a big part of it was just my willingness to learn and be outside of the box. When I went over to our warranty side and I went to our claims department, I worked with a bunch of former technicians. So they weren't turning wrenches anymore, but they still had the knowledge base.
Okay.
And I think just willing to take that leap was a huge part of it.
Did it require a lot? Because you're going from, I don't know anything about cars,
Yeah.
to really deep in the heart of
Yeah.
this business, this industry, and managing a huge facility. You guys are going to see this later. We're going to do a tour of the facility. It is massive. And there's, any shop has a ton of different things going on that you have to be aware of, but this is on such a huge scale, and having not come from the automotive world, like, how did you learn so much? I mean, was it on your own? Did you have mentors within the company? Like, how did...
Well, here specifically, a lot of it was, again, kind of just being part of the team. Like, before I came here, I never changed a car battery. Like, I had no clue how to do that. It was kind of scary, honestly. I was like, I don't want to break something or do something wrong.
Right.
And it was just a lot of people who were willing to help and just like, let me help you. I want to show you. They really want to help you learn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna dive more into your story in a bit, but I want to hear from you as well. How did you get where you are managing a national business, really, like managing and running all of the details, all of the things on such a massive scale? Where did this start for you?
Yeah, I have a kind of interesting story. I got into automotive on mistake. About 20 years ago, I went to the wrong place for an interview. So,
okay, wait, what?
it's kind of an interesting story. So, 20 some odd years ago, I had an interview at an automotive organization, and they had a kind of business office job that I was applying to, and they had a service department in a separate building, which was closer to the parking lot. I went to the service department thinking that was my interview. Just so happened they had an interview at the exact same time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
just confusion. So I ended up applying for a service writer position, not knowing it, thinking I was applying for a business manager or office position. And what was funny about that is the service manager was like, "You are not qualified at all for this job." And I'm like, "This is the weirdest office job I've ever heard of." So
this is a fantastic
yes,
story. I love it.
So
Some people say that they got into automotive by accident, but they don't mean like that
No,
much by
I
accident.
literally on accident. We had a good laugh when we figured out where I was in the wrong place when the real interview for service position, our service writer position, showed up. So I ended up going and interviewing for the office job, but I really kind of hit it off with the service manager about what that job looked. It sounded so interesting to me. So he ended up offering me the job as a service advisor, but I didn't know anything about anything, so I couldn't start that. So I actually started driving the shuttle bus.
Okay.
That was my entry into automotive. I was going to drive the shuttle bus just to learn and go alongside one of the other service writers and learn.
Okay.
It was the hardest job I think I've ever done.
Doing the shuttle service?
No, learning service.
Learning
writer.
service.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm like, doing the shuttle
Yeah, I had to
service?
learn. No, that was easy. I did that to get in, but I had to learn how to be a service writer, and it was so hard. And eventually, we figured out, and this was back in the day before technology, so you had to write up repair orders on paper and walk them into the mechanic.
Anybody remember those days?
Yeah.
Those were fun.
And then he would send it back with estimate, and I wouldn't know anything on it. So I wanted to learn. So I'd go in the shop and, okay, you said O2 sensor. What does the O stand for? And he'd be like, oxygen. Oh. And so I had these little notepads, and I'd run in and have them teach me what it was about, and eventually really learned enough to be able to sell service and work my way up from there. And so that was 20 some odd years ago, and I've just over time kind of worked my way through a variety of roles. I had the pleasure, I've been with DriveTime 10 years, and so I've had the pleasure of launching Silver Rock, which is the company that she got into the more technical automotive space in.
Okay.
And then sales and inventory. So it's been a really fun, long journey, and I've never stopped learning. It never amazes me how complicated this business is and how complex automotive can be, and it's fun. So it's been a long 20-year
The
journey.
automotive industry has a way of doing that, doesn't it? Like it just
does.
like grabs you and it doesn't let go.
Yeah.
I know so many people are like, I tried to leave the industry.
Yeah, you can't.
And then I wind up back in it, like in some form or another.
It's a calling.
From shuttle driver to running operations for an entire national corporation.
Yeah.
That's
It's been a
pretty
great
boss.
Well, thank you.
And I know there's more women in the corporate side and in the leader and management side of the automotive industry in general. I think the last time I looked, women make up about 25% of automotive industry as a whole, but only 2% of technicians. So we're making way more headway on the management side of things. How were your experiences coming up within the automotive industry as a woman? Were there any issues there? Did you ever feel like it was an issue that you were female?
I'll go first.
Whoever wants to take this one.
I don't really know. I think I have a history in the military, so I'm kind of used to being the minority in that sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think a lot of that kind of translated over to the civilian side. And I think a big part of it is just staying humble, but also having confidence. Like that's huge. And especially working with very, strong-minded men. That's very, very important.
Very nice way of putting it.
Yes, it's very important.
Yes, absolutely. How about for you?
Yeah, I'd say, of course, I think there's always going to be bumps along the way. I think confidence is probably a really great word. Even early on, you sort of had to fake it to make it to get your way
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
But for me, I think it's all about, like, you teach people how to treat you. So that's always a method I've had in all of life, and so I've always taught people how to treat me, and I really don't tolerate any less, and it always has worked out in my favor in that instance. So
You talk about fake it so you make it a little bit, right? You're both coming from outside of the automotive industry in your early days, starting out, learning stuff. How do you find that confidence when you don't know the things yet? Like, how do you balance that out? I mean, this can be an overwhelming industry to get to know and to try to figure out, and at the same time be like, don't treat me poorly, I'm here, I deserve respect, and balance all of that out. What do you attribute that to?
yeah, I have to say, I think for me, it's like part personality and part performance.
Okay.
So like, I've always had the motto, like, I'll work around anybody, like I'll work circles around you just to prove that I, can get to where I need to be. And then from that, you get some wins, and that's where you kind of gain the confidence from. So I have to say, for probably the last 20 some odd years, I've never let my foot off the gas pedal, and I intend to not. I intend to not. So yeah, I think a lot of it just comes to effort, performance, and what you put into it, you'll get out of it. And that's the other great part about the automotive industry. It's tangible, right?
Yeah.
So like, you can put work out there and physically see it and feel it and experience it, and that gives you an inner confidence and a sense of accomplishment, if you will.
It's interesting to hear that from you on the corporate side, right? Because as a mechanic, I feel like, okay, I do this thing, I fix this car, I see it drive down the road, it is like tangible, but in my mind, I guess I don't think about on the corporate side still having that same tangible feeling.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Is it attached to the car, like the individual vehicles? Is it attached to like the company as a whole? Like where do you get that, like, that satisfaction of that tangible thing that you did?
Yeah, so for us, it's really about our customer base. So being able to see us to continue to increase how many customers are able to drive, and not only drive, but stay in the car and continue to be able to afford loan payments, and the car runs, and we're able to, secure it with our vehicle service contracts and take care of them after the fact. And then all the reviews that we get, the customer feedback that we get. And then we're pretty connected to our reconditioning centers and our retail dealerships. We spend a lot of time interacting and getting feedback both ways, and we don't have a lot of layers, corporate layers, in between the reconditioning centers and me and our CEO. Like, we're pretty thin at the head, so at the top, on purpose, because we feel like it matters. So yeah, I'd say, our customers are really what keeps us grounded in that space, and we get to see them drive off in a car and post on social media.
So this really is a natural progression for you from service advising.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that's all about, right? That customer connection, that knowing that, like, I always said to my customers, like, it's me and you against your car. It's not me against you. Like, we're in this together. It's a partnership. Like, we got to get through this together. And it's like, that's a natural progression to where you're at now, is trying to get people in safe vehicles, right? Like, some of us are out there building fancy custom cars and doing high performance stuff, but the reality is the bulk of this industry is like John and Jane Doe need a car to get to work and keep their kids safe while they're driving down the road. And
Absolutely.
keep them, able to life, right?
Yeah. Well, automotive, having a car is not a luxury anymore. It used to be a luxury.
Right.
It's not it is
It's a
very
necessity.
much a necessity.
Yeah.
And if you think about like where all the public transportation is, it's in the very urban areas that people can walk to and get access to. Most people don't live in those areas. Most people live in suburban areas or rural areas where they have to have transportation because it doesn't exist otherwise. So there's definitely it's a need.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Internal to DriveTime, I know there's been a lot of initiatives, and you guys are really doing a lot to try to embrace diversity and bring more people in. What are some of the programs that you guys have here? Have you guys benefited from any of those programs? Like, what all are you guys doing to get more techs out there and get more lady techs out there?
Yeah, do you want to share?
No,
what you guys
go
yeah. So one of the things is we're hiring all over the place. So we're hiring. Is that a
Anybody
plug?
want a job?
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. We're hiring. We are so encouraging of a variety of level of skills, and we do everything. So we have paint, we have cosmetics, we have detail, we have technical work, we have simple as taking photos and preparing vehicles is one of Pam's specialties. So being able to offer a variety of skills that people can come in and really grow with us, I think is really important. We also do a lot of, I think, really cool things for our team. We have we give our growing employees that will come in, maybe you don't have a technical skill set yet, you come in at more of an entry level, and then we, as you work and kind of grow, we'll partner you up, do some mentorship, and then we'll actually give you tools.
Oh,
so
wow.
we have a tool program where you can sign up, we'll give you a whole toolkit of tools to get you on your feet, get you going, and help you get there.
Incredible.
Yeah, so we do a lot of really cool things, I think, to sort of get people on their feet. That's the hardest part, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the technician world, in the mechanic world. You have to supply all your own tools. It's really expensive. It takes a long time. And so we found that was a barrier that we could help solve. And so we provide tools, help give some training and get people on there. And we have a lot of cars that they can practice on. So
I love that. That's such a huge thing. I think, we talk all the time about how it's hard to find technicians. Like every shop across the country is like, I can't find techs, whether it's a small shop or a big shop. And I think one of the biggest problems is that we're a hard industry to break into as a technician. Like, you need all this education, you need all of these tools, it's all super expensive, you start out not making a whole lot of money. Like, yes, there's a ton of opportunity to grow, but there's all of these barriers of entry, and it's so cool to see like companies saying, how do we fix that? How can we remove some of those barriers of entry? And you're right, tools are a ridiculously huge part of this job, and they're ridiculously expensive.
they are. They really are.
And it's really cool to see people grow, because we have at least 3 people literally right now who started out on the detail side.
Okay.
2 of them are Tech 1s. One of them just got accepted into school, and he's going to be doing that and working full time.
Nice.
So it's really cool to see them progress in that.
Do you find that you're hiring and like raising up technicians more than hiring masters or experienced technicians, or is it a little bit of both?
I would say both. I would say primarily we're bringing people in, but that's just because we're trying to find people who want to grow with us, and that's harder to find, but we're definitely doing both.
How often do you find, like, I think sometimes for young kids, and some folks out there might be watching this and thinking the same thing, like, I want to be in automotive, I don't necessarily know what I want to do, right? Like, maybe I might be interested in paint, but I'm not sure. I might be interested in mechanical, but I'm not sure. I don't know necessarily what kind of vehicles I want to work on. How often do you find that people come in and swap areas? Because it seems like a cool opportunity that you guys have all of these different departments that, like, a lot of shops don't have that, right? It's either a collision shop or a mechanical shop.
Mm-hmm.
Do people bounce around and try things on for size?
Yeah, all over the country. We have another kind of the benefit of that. We have what we call a learn and earn program, where you can actually go through different modules of training in a variety of roles, and then we pay you more each time you learn something new. So not only are you gaining skill, you're also getting more money, which is and it's benefiting the organization as well, because now we have more cross-functional employees, more well-rounded employees, and they get to sort of experience the whole shop, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Are you specifically seeking out female techs at all, or employees at all?
We are seeking out everyone.
Regardless of who you are.
Absolutely. But we absolutely love to bring on female techs. We have quite a few within the organization. We're really 100% happy with bringing in as much diversity of thought, diversity of experience, diversity of background. All that really makes us more well-rounded. So yes, we 100%.
I'm curious, switching gears here, I'm ADD, right? Yeah. I'm all over the place. I'm curious for both of you, mentors throughout your career. Have you had any ones that like really stand out to you as being a big kind of game changer for you in your career?
I feel like I've had a couple, and coincidentally they're all female. One of them being Jaimie. Like she said, I worked with her in Silver Rock. I've worked with her in a couple different places. Another one, Amy Childs. She's my old director.
Okay.
And I think what a lot of them have in common is, like we said earlier, their confidence. Like, they're extremely knowledgeable, but the thing that I like is that they're also really personable. Like, you could go and just have a conversation with them. They're not intimidating in that way, which is good. I mean, they're intimidating when they need to be. They're intimidating when they need to be, but not when they're mentors.
Not when you need their mentorship.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
How about for you?
Yeah, I'd say early on, all of the mentors that I had were definitely male, just because of limited available, female mentors
Yeah,
out
coming
there.
up 20 years ago, absolutely.
Yeah, but I had a lot of really, really great men in the automotive industry that poured into me and just like sort of helped. And what's interesting is like you always think of a mentor as like somebody at a level above you, but one of the greatest mentors I had was a mechanic that was on one of my teams when I was dispatching out work. That would really he took me under his wing and taught me everything he thought he could teach me, and really helped me understand like the automotive experience for a consumer, and how to help them through that. I love what you said, it's me and you against your car, not me against you and your car. And so I'd have to say that I've had quite a few throughout the years, and in terms of like female mentors, I've definitely had a couple of those along the way as well. And I think it's always inspiring when you see somebody that's sort of made it and they have developed a personality for themselves. And I think my leadership style has been somewhat of an accumulation of all of them together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we've talked about a couple of times on these happy hours is, the idea of how people can be better mentors, right? We know that the industry is predominantly male. We know that there are women trying to come up in the industry, and the important role that men play in our success. And, to your point, especially earlier in back in the day when you and I were coming up, right? There weren't a lot of female role models or female mentors out there, and even now, like my male mentors are super important to me just as much as my female mentors are. So I kind of like talking about like what if you could get out there to other people, like the guys who are watching this, how, and the women who are watching this, how can you be a better mentor? How can you help women succeed within this industry? Maybe some of your experiences from watching techs out there in the field and how they're working with each other. Like what can our fine folks at home do to help bring up new technicians and to be good mentors?
Yeah, for me, I think it all starts with like caring about and building a relationship with people. Like it has to start from that, because if you just go straight into like I'm going to teach you how to do things, and there's not like that relationship there. And also like mentorship is also about like a two-way communication, right? Like if I'm struggling with something, I need to have a go-to, somebody that I can reach out to. And if you don't have that relationship up front, that makes it really hard and probably ineffective, quite frankly. So for me, I think it's all about like if you're experienced, if you're knowledgeable, you don't have to be in a high-level position to be a mentor either. If you've been in this industry, if you've experienced whatever, use that and help the next person behind you. Build a relationship, share with them. Don't keep things secret. Like don't hide your toys. Share.
This industry
Share
has a
with the
problem
world.
with that. Like these were my hard-earned lessons.
Exactly.
I'm not sharing them with you.
I'm not telling you. You don't have to share your tools, but share your toys, right? Share what you know. And then that's how we all kind of grow together, and be vulnerable. Share mistakes you made. Share a time you messed something up, because that will help the next person learn. Like, oh, I remember somebody went through this before me. So, and just relate. Like, yeah, I know sometimes it's really hard, and you got frustrated because you had a tough day today. I get those too. That's okay. Let's work through it together. Like, I think sometimes just being a sounding board is really really helpful for those that are coming up.
Yeah. Absolutely. How about for you?
And well, to piggyback off that a little bit, I think just being genuine. I think people, especially in this field, they can tell if you're just being phony, or if you don't really, mean what you say. If you're not really listening, they sense that. So just having those genuine connections and just be willing to help. I think those are the two big things.
Operating here, you're running operations at this facility, correct? So you have how many technicians here?
I believe we have about 20.
Okay. And is that overall with all of the different departments?
Yes.
Okay. Do you any ladies here?
We do not.
We
We're
need-
definitely hiring.
We need to fix
Hiring
that.
the ladies.
We need to fix that. The Phoenix area,
Yeah.
you want to get started, tool program.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is totally sounding like commercial. I swear it's not, but like if I were just coming up in the industry, that would be super appealing. Okay, so no women in the field right now. Do you see a lot of active mentorship happening within your techs out there, and how they operate with each other?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with our ones. It's kind of it's precious to kind of see them. I know that's a funny word to use, but to see our ones with our twos, because our tech twos, so the higher techs,
Okay.
they just have so much knowledge, and they just want to share it. So they
awesome.
have these tech ones, and they're like little sponges, and they just want to be like, let me teach you, let me show you, let me do it with you. And they're so helpful, which I think is great.
So, and this is, I'm maybe a little like, not biased, but this is a little self-serving of a question right now. I do a lot of teaching, and I work with people on kind of like creating a culture that encourages partnership and teamwork and mentorship and just creating that kind of sharing of knowledge. And you guys seem like you've successfully done that here, and I know a lot of shops struggle with that. Like, we've got technicians who don't want to share their knowledge, technicians that don't want to play well with each other. How, advice for other shop owners out there who are watching this, how do you create that culture? Like, what is the key to getting your techs to play nice together, to want to work together?
I think a big part, at least that I see here, is just that mutual respect. I think at the end of the day, from what I've experienced with technicians, they just want to be heard and respected, and they want to feel valued. I think that's a huge part of it.
Amen to that. Cheers. Can we just cheers that for a second? We just want to be appreciated and valued.
And it sounds so basic, but it's something that's extremely important. And what I've
surprisingly
noticed,
rare.
Yeah. And what I've noticed even here is they are so grateful over the smallest things. Like the smallest things get them super excited. Like when we buy lunch once a month for everybody, they just love it. And if you listen to what they want to get for lunch, it's like you actually got what we asked for, and it's like, well, yeah, I listen to you guys. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna.
Isn't it amazing how simple it can be,
Mm-hmm.
and yet it's kind of terrifying to me how infrequently it happens. Like, just the thank you.
Yeah.
The appreciation. I think techs particularly don't often get that. It's
Yep.
like, why are you late? How come you haven't finished that car yet?
Yep.
You know?
Or it's working faster. What else can you do? Like,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you guys work on a flat rate system or hourly?
We're
Hourly.
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 Yep. And then we have a lot, that is a benefit, right? So
Yeah,
it's
it's like,
another
I think
reason
that's
why
a
they
part
work
of
together.
it. Yeah.
Yep, so we're hourly, and then we also do, contests and programs and what have you, and typically those are always done with the whole team. So there's a whole team benefit to winning. We really try not to have people compete against each other, because that's where you sort of lose
Yeah.
some of the
teamwork,
camaraderie,
yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot, one of the things I think we're pretty proud of at DriveTime is we do a lot of recognition. So you can see all the gear stuff over there.
Yes.
That is our recognition program that we do where they can nominate each other for things. So there's a lot of like positive reinforcement. I think another kind of automotive industry knock, if I will, is that sometimes, especially kind of growing up, a lot of times you'd hear, I'm not going to recognize you for just doing your job I'm paying you to do, right? And so you have to sort of throw that mindset out and say, like,
Yeah.
recognizing somebody for a job well done is going to get another job well done. So
Yes.
like, that's not hard to do. Just say thanks for doing a good job and appreciate that, because it's going to get more good jobs done. And so part of what all this is about is, making sure that people know that when you do a good job, we appreciate that, and we want to encourage that and continue to let that happen. But yes, we are
Amen to
hourly,
that.
so that very much helps.
Yeah.
Very competitive rates. Just throwing that out there.
Stop pitch. No, I think that's really a huge thing, in that, like, we think that flat rate is the only way to incentivize. We think that that's the only way to get people to work harder. And I think most folks who have worked under the flat rate system know that, like, there's a lot of negativity that comes out of the flat rate system, and that as a manager, as a shop owner, as a operations director, there's other ways that we can get our technicians to perform and create a good culture. And it's, you reward and focus on that which you want to see improve, right? If you want to see teamwork, you do things that encourage people to work together as a team, right? It sounds so basic.
Yep.
But what are some of the other things that you guys do? You talk about like monthly meetings and kind of getting everything together. What do those look like?
Well, with COVID, they look a little bit different.
But I guess more like what happens, like what's the point of them?
Yeah. Well, really, it's just to encourage people to get to know each other, really. I think that's another huge factor, is that they're not just coworkers, right? Like, you want to make them feel like a team. And if that means, you buy lunch once a month and people socialize while they're eating, or if we have, a raffle and people are excited about it, so they're talking about, like, oh, hey, you won this, that's so cool. Like, it just encourages all that type of behavior.
And that's what the ping pong table is for too.
And the ping pong, yes.
Ping pong.
Yes, they love
I feel
that.
like after this little happy hour is over, we're gonna need to get to know each other over some ping pong.
Yes.
I feel like that's that's a thing that has to happen.
Yes.
All right, what time is it? I don't even know. Do either of you know? I want to save time to go on the tour and see the shop. As I'm sure
6:35.
some of you would like to do. Do we want to go ahead? There's a lot to see.
Yeah.
Do we want to go head out and take a look at
Yeah,
that?
that sounds
Well,
great.
actually, you know what? We have one more important thing. One more very important question that I always like to normally end my interviews on, but since we're going to go do a tour, we might not have the opportunity for that. So I want to ask you if you had the opportunity to go back and speak to little baby you, young you, or another young woman out there, or guy out there who wants to be doing what you're doing, what is your advice to them? What would you tell yourself back then? What would you tell them?
You go first.
Okay. I would tell myself, do we know where we're going to end up, or it's a mystery?
Maybe it's a mystery.
Okay, it's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Okay, so
I mean, your life was a mystery.
That's true, that's true.
I don't know what to do after the military. Here we go.
Yeah. So the big piece of advice I would give myself is be open. Be willing to learn. You're going to end up somewhere that you never thought you would end up.
Clearly.
But it's going to be awesome. You're going to meet some amazing people, and just go with it. That's what I would tell myself.
All right. How about
All right.
for you?
Yeah. I mean, mine wouldn't be too far off. I'd say always say yes. Sign up for it. Say yes. Work. Try this extra job. Do this new thing. Say yes. And then for me also, it's just surround yourself with good people. Who you surround yourself will absolutely affect the kind of job that you do, the places you go, the decisions you make. And so, be picky and surround yourself with the best people, and then those people will continue to help drive you forward. And then always say yes.
Awesome. Good advice. All right. Shall we?
Yeah.
Go check this
Let's
place
go
out.
check
You
it
guys
out.
ready to go check out this insane facility? All right. I'm putting on my jacket because it's cold out there, and we're Arizonans and we're wusses, and we can't deal with the cold. All right. All right, guys, we ready to go for a tour? We're going to go wander around. First of all, I just got to show you a little more of this break room. So some of what they were talking about, we've got ping pong. Yeah. They've got all sorts of fun gear stuff, and I'm a total nerd for inspirational quotes and that kind of stuff. So I geek out on this kind of stuff. Silly, I know, maybe, but whatever. I love it. So we're going to go walk outside in the cold to check out this crazy place. And we're going to see what it's all about. And my God, I have so much, I got a little sneak peek at everything a little bit earlier. It might get a little dark here for a second, guys, but I got a sneak peek of how huge it was. And I have to say, the job that you guys do, I mean, you're managing this huge facility. That's insane. This is a huge facility. You're managing them all over the country. I have total utmost respect to both of you for what you have to do. All right, I'm going to turn the camera around really quickly if I can figure out how to do that. And is it going to work? All right, look at the size of this shop, y'all. And this is just part of it. This is half the shop. And if you look down this way, we've got a whole nother shop. We've got paint and body down there. We've got all detailing, all sorts of stuff. So you said you have how many technicians?
About 20 to 30. We have a good.
Okay.
We've got about
So
60 total employees.
do your techs have, and you don't get to look at my pretty face, you get to look at these lovely ladies' pretty faces while they talk about stuff. So how many bays does each technician have? Because this looks like way more than 20 bays.
Yep, so it just depends on the area. There's
Okay.
some technicians, they're doing different types of jobs.
Okay.
There's some that do inspection, there's some that are hanging parts.
Okay.
There's some that are doing GIS install, we have
Okay.
diagnostic level technicians.
Okay.
There's a variety of different roles, and then depending on the role, they may have 1 lift, 2 lifts, ground work, so just
Okay.
depends on where they're at.
So huge shop, tons of space. This is a lot. I'm impressed by how clean it is. Is anybody else impressed by how clean this is?
Thank goodness.
I've got somebody asking if there's any facilities near Harrisburg, Virginia.
Not Virginia. Pennsylvania is probably the closest.
Okay.
Philadelphia.
Saying Pennsylvania is probably the closest to Albert Hardy. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. So there's one in Pennsylvania. But check out how awesome and huge and clean this shop is.
I think another cool part about our RCs too is that is our hours. So we're open from 6 a.m. to 2:30 and no weekends. So
What?
Yeah, Monday through Friday, home by 3.
Wow.
So
Traffic every day.
yeah, they get to beat traffic
Well,
and come home.
and in Arizona, like summer's here, 120 degrees. You don't want to be out past that time anyway.
We typically get a team vote to move it to 5 a.m. to 1 so that they can beat the heat sometime here.
Nice.
We're pretty flexible around that. But
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's always a benefit for them.
So obviously you guys are reconditioning all types of vehicles, right? Like that's a lot. Like focusing on one type of vehicle is hard enough, right? Being able to work on all of the different types of vehicles. Like how do you guys keep your folks trained and up on all of the different things, like working on all of the different makes and models?
Good. Okay. Well, our technicians typically they already work on a lot of different vehicles, but we have a training, especially when they first get here. We typically just have them build the cars.
Okay.
So they're just working on kind of basic things.
Okay.
And then we have a mentorship where someone will train them on DriveTime specific items.
Okay.
And get them up to speed on that.
Okay. And then it's just kind of keeping up on all of the different manufacturers and makes and models
Yep. And if it's something, we do have specific diag techs.
for different makes.
Well, for just specific issues, I guess. So
Okay.
if it's something that tech is not familiar with,
Okay.
they can get it over to our diag tech.
Okay.
We also work with a bunch of other partners too. So CTI, CarQuest Training Institute, and
Okay.
we have a lot of tech schools that we're involved with.
Okay.
AE Tools is one of our companies we work with, and they have some training programs. So we do try to invest, and then we have tuition reimbursement. So
Nice.
we'll pay for people to go continue their education because obviously there's a big benefit for the organization.
I kind of want to go work for them. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to flip the camera around again, and we're going to take a look. I don't know, it's kind of dark, but I'm going to poke my head over here. First of all, the sky is gorgeous right now. Side note, because I'm squirrel, but look at how many cars are out here. Are these all cars that have been or are getting ready to be reconditioned?
This is what we call our work in progress. So all
Okay.
of these cars in a variety of states. Some of them are waiting to be brought in. Some of them are in the middle of the process. Some of them are waiting on parts. Some of them are waiting on cosmetic repairs. It's generally a whole slew of work that needs to be done. So this is our general work in the
There's
lanes,
so many of them. So many. That has got to be like a nightmare to keep organized, like what's needed. I mean, you know, being a service advisor, right? Like how much it is to handle just a small shop being a service writer. Like, what?
I wish I could tell you we didn't buy a lot of keys every year. But we buy a lot of keys every year.
Okay. All right. Any other challenges that you face dealing with all of this?
No, I mean, DriveTime's been doing this a little while, right?
Yeah.
We have certain processes and whatnot that help keep us organized.
Yeah.
We do inventory, for instance, every Monday and Thursday. We have to make sure
Oh,
we
wow.
know where everything's at. That's one thing that me and my team assist with. So it sometimes it's a lot.
Yeah.
But
Processes,
it helps us
processes,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And we have a system that we use, reporting, home office or our corporate people, they've really been helping us get some better reporting together.
Okay.
To just keep us even more organized. So
That's
really
awesome.
wonderful.
Awesome. All right, show me more. Show me more of the facility. We want to show these guys what we've got. Lady Start Your Engines is asking, how many shops do you have across the country?
15.
15. Okay. Are they all over the country? Or are they in more like East Coast more, West Coast more?
We generally make a big smiley face. So we're
Big smiley face. I like that. Was that on purpose?
California to Philadelphia.
Okay.
But we're Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Kansas City, Denver. I'm trying to name them off.
You're going to be tested on this later, guys.
Kansas City, Denver, Georgia, Orlando, Tampa. Oh gosh, what's up in the north? Memphis, Chicago. I'm trying to think of all the places we're at.
Okay.
Did I name 15 yet? Maryland. Yeah, so we're
I think she's just randomly naming states right now.
Las Vegas. Yeah, we're in Vegas. Anybody want to?
Dun, dun, dun. This is for as many cars as you have out there to walk into a place that just has one in this like very ominous looking room here. I'm assuming that this is the photograph room.
This is our photo booth, yes.
All right. This is kind of nice. I need this in my shop.
Yeah.
This is so well lit. Do you ever do like non-car photo shoots in here?
Never. sure.
I think she's lying.
My boss, my official answer.
This is awesome. Okay, so every car comes through here
Yep.
to get photographed for advertisements, for selling.
This is on our website. Yeah, all of our
Okay.
website photos happen in our reconditioning center. So
Okay.
they're just as involved in marketing as the rest of the organization.
Awesome. Very cool. What's the room? Is this also, this is just like prep for?
This is like a prep and we'll
Okay.
take interior photos in this room. And then this room over here is safe for exterior photos.
Ah, okay.
We have our own homegrown photo app. So that's been pretty cool for us.
Homegrown photo app. What does that even mean?
We made our own app. We
Okay.
take our own pictures and it interacts with our website, and
Oh.
it allows us to add features. We decode the vehicles, obviously, but obviously, you know, if you've been decoded, it still doesn't have all the trim level features. And,
Sometimes,
yeah,
yep.
So it allows us to be able to select accurate features so that we're communicating with the customer what's
Okay.
actually on the vehicle.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we looking at here? Are these more cars waiting to be worked on?
Yeah, so this is a mixture of two things, really. This is our distribution area. So
Okay.
we bring the cars over here, give them one last quality check, and then they'll get parked over there.
Okay.
And transporters will pick them up to go to the dealership.
Okay.
And then this is also our sublet area, so we have to send cars out to any other place.
Okay.
Or get windshields done or something.
Okay.
Stage ready.
Okay. Cool. All right, what else we got? Because this place just like goes on and on. It is massive. So there's the dealership is separate from this. This is just reconditioning side of things, and then there's a whole other place where people go to buy or trade in or
We're
whatever.
very much a hub and spoke model.
Okay.
So like I mentioned, 134 dealerships. We only have 15 reconditioning centers. So
Okay.
all of those vehicles that go to our dealerships come from one of the 15 reconditioning centers.
Okay.
So they're all
Gotcha.
transported, and we do have a couple that are attached to dealerships.
Okay.
But it's pretty few. Most
Okay.
of them are kind of big ones like this that we can then transport vehicles out.
Okay. And I have to turn this around for a second. Look, more things to play with. Non-car related things to play with, that is. All right. And look, more bays. This is not the same shop I was showing you before. This is like the other half of the shop, and it is just as big and just as clean. Like, holy crap, how clean is all of this? Like, I nerd out over clean shops. Like, I don't know how you guys managed to find so many clean technicians. Like, look at this, guys. Look at how pretty. Okay, sorry, I'm nerding out.
No, nerd away. You can compliment us on a clean shop.
Right? But no, seriously, like I hear people talk, and I'm sure some of you out there can attest to this. I hear people talk all the time. Like, how can we find more technicians? How can we find more technicians? I can't find technicians to work at my shop. And then you go look at their shop, and it's like, I wouldn't want to work there. Like, why? Nobody wants to work there because your shop is gross, and it's dirty, and it's not well lit. And like, to the point you guys were making earlier, like, we just want to feel respected. We just want to feel appreciated. And part of that is the space that we get to work in, and whether it's a nice place to work in.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stop ranting. I'm going to turn my camera around again, and we're going to look at some more cars and some more things. All right, what's this? It's a little dark.
This is our car wash. And
Okay,
then this
you can't really see it, but that's a car wash right in front of us. Is there a light? That's right.
cosmetic area.
Oh, lights! Let there be light.
So this is where they do windshield repair, plastic welding, PDRs,
Okay.
stuff like that.
I'm just learning plastic welding, and I'm really excited
Yeah.
about it. Okay, now we get to see the car
And
wash.
that's the car wash.
I want my own car wash.
We have a full detail team, so they'll come over here and do the car wash, and then go over there and continue to clean the interior.
Okay.
It's our paint booth.
Yeah.
All right. So are people doing body work out here? Like,
We're not doing sheet metal or anything like that.
sure.
Yes,
But like painting,
minor
filler work, that kind of stuff.
yeah. Small bumper replacements.
Okay.
Small damage, nothing like major.
Okay.
Things, but yes, we're doing.
Okay.
Absolutely doing paint.
So you've got to have like some pretty like strict guidelines on like what type of vehicles you will take in to work on. Like if it's beyond a certain point.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we have what we call a buy direction. So
Okay.
every week we have about 40 buyers across the country that
Okay.
buy us a bunch of vehicles and then
Okay.
ship them here. And so there's all sorts of rules and limitations and good things, and
Right.
we need a truck. I don't care if it's missing half the fender, just get a truck.
Right. Trucks are so hard to get right now. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Or if Denver, get any 4-wheel drive. We don't care if it doesn't have wheels, just get it.
Just get it.
We'll figure it out. And then some of the more standard compact or mid-sized vehicles, like we can get a little more picky on.
Okay.
More readily available. So it just
Okay.
depends.
Okay.
Really on what we need.
Awesome.
We have a really authentic inspection process. So if we get the vehicle in and we get it up there, the techs are looking at it and it doesn't meet our standards of what we feel we would want to sell as a company, we kick it back, we get rid of it, or we figure out, okay, how can we make this right? Because we don't want to sell it in the condition that it's in.
That's awesome. Nice little paint booth here. All right, what else is there to show? Is there more stuff? Did we actually cover it all?
We went all the way down.
Most of it, yeah.
We got our steps in today, though. For sure.
There's just more like sea of cars this
More
year.
sea of cars. Even more cars.
Yep. This is our stocking area, so this is where they will first drop off the vehicles.
Okay.
We check them in, do all that good stuff, and then they go to our inspection team.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So we're going to walk back and out of the cold because I am a wuss and I am freezing. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I so appreciate you guys spending some time with me and hanging out in the cold with me and sharing your stories with everybody. Is there anything that I've forgotten to ask you? Anything that you want to talk about, either personally or business-wise?
No, I just want to say, I'm so excited that we get to partner with you and what your organization's doing, and we're so excited to be able to communicate with your field and your team and let them know who we are and what we do. It's, I say we're kind of like a smiley face. There's so many people out there that don't even know that we exist or what we do, and we're so passionate about what we do here and excited about the opportunities that we can provide to employees and to customers, and so we're just happy to be partnered with you and be able to tell some of the women out there, we're welcome to the automotive industry, and we want you.
Girls.
We're glad you're here, and if you're not, come on over.
I love it. Awesome. I'm so stoked. And it's obvious both of their passion and their enjoyment and their love for what they do. And I think it's so cool seeing two women who did not come from this background, right? Yeah. One who kind of came from the military, didn't know what she wanted to do. Another one who accidentally, literally went to the wrong interview for the wrong job and wound up in the automotive industry. For the two of you to be in a place where you're excelling as much as you are, to have achieved as much as you have within the automotive industry, I think is just, and to be so happy about it, and to have stayed this long, I think is just such a huge testament. There's a ton of opportunity in the automotive industry, guys. It's not just turning wrenches. It's not just fixing the cars, although that is huge and important and vital, and obviously I'm super passionate about it, but there's a ton of opportunity out there, and these two ladies are examples of that. And what you can do, even for those of you who are hands-on out there, and maybe you're getting a little older, your body's starting to hurt a little bit, there's other opportunities. Mm-hmm. Started out as a shuttle driver.
Yep.
And now national corporation, running operations, started out doing collections, and now managing this entire massive, gorgeous facility. The opportunities are out there, guys. You just got to make them happen. So with that, I am going to sign off and let you guys have a fantastic evening. I appreciate you guys joining so much and spending part of your evening with me. Make sure you come back next week. We're going to meet another awesome tradeswoman. As always, all of these happy hours are going to live on my IG live tab on my profile forever and eternity, so you can go and watch this again. You can go back and watch all of the old ones. I thank you guys for spending your night with me, and until I see you guys later, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Have a great night. Bye, guys.